Alright, Black Ops 6 is pretty much wrapped up now, with the BO7 reveal happening a couple days ago. So I thought this would be the perfect time to sit down and share my honest thoughts about BO6, with what I liked and what I didn't like, and where it ranks among my favorite CODs. Before I jump into the game itself, let me give a little context about where I'm coming from. I've been personally playing COD since the original Modern Warfare 3, and don't just stick to one game mode. I play everything from campaign, zombies, multiplayer, and of course ranked play, which you'd probably notice from my own gameplay. And out of all the games, BO3 stands out as my absolute favorite, as it is close to a perfect COD as you can get, in my opinion. On the other hand, Modern Warfare 2019 is probably at the bottom of my list due to them completely destroying classic multiplayer, adding gunsmith, and beginning what I like to call the warzonification of COD itself. So with that being said, you kind of got a sense of the kind of perspective I bring to when I'm talking about COD and what makes a COD game good and what doesn't make a COD game so good, in my opinion. So yeah, let's get into the video. For my general impressions of BO6 as a whole, I just come out and say it, that this is one of my favorite CODs of all time, and it is definitely in my top 3. Despite the glaring issues that it has, which don't worry, I'll get into, I believe at its core, with the gameplay and movement, this COD has the best feel and is the most fun I've ever had on a COD since BO3. Starting with the campaign, for me it is an easy 8 out of 10 as it has a strong story, both classic and new characters who are honestly really interesting, and missions that gameplay wise are all perfect and completely different from one another, and I think these missions are honestly the best in the series that we have seen to date. The safehouse feature was also a really cool addition in my opinion, as it allowed you to discover more story lore, find hidden easter eggs, and purchase upgrades with the new money system, which helped keep the campaign interesting and dynamic, and was something we haven't seen in the recent campaigns. Where I believe the campaign fell short though was in two main categories, the first being the Cradle mission. And if you don't remember what the Cradle mission was, it was basically the mission where Case went into that facility and he got intoxicated with the green gas and he started hallucinating a bunch of things. And don't get me wrong, this mission is honestly pretty amazing, but it felt like a missed opportunity when I was done playing it. The reason I felt like that when I was done playing it was mainly because of the decision the devs made to use zombies as the primary enemy, as this felt like a slap in the face, especially coming from a player like me who plays zombies a good amount. It just made the mission look rushed and made it look like they needed to reuse assets instead of coming up with something new. And what makes this shortcoming ironic and kind of frustrating is the fact that it could have easily been avoided if they have just decided to use mannequins instead of zombies as the main enemy. The mission even starts off with the mannequins, and it would have been a perfect fit that I don't really see anyone complaining about. Now, the next area that I think the campaign fell short in is kind of a minor issue. It's not really a major thing, but it's something that the campaign also fell short in for Modern Warfare 3, and that is the lack of a platinum trophy to work towards. Due to the COD HQ being a thing now, they haven't added one since, and although it may not matter to most, for me it does, as it gives me something to do and a reason to play the campaign multiple times. And without it, I really just played the campaign once and that was it for me. I was good. I didn't really have another reason to play it. So overall, the campaign in my opinion was solid. It kept me interested to see where the story goes in BO7, and with the BO7 reveal coming out just recently, I actually think it's going to be quite similar to BO6, which I think is a really good thing, and I'm definitely excited to play it and see what's in store for it. Alright, so next up is zombies, and for me it lands at a 7.5 out of 10. The maps are honestly really good, the easter eggs and boss fights are some of the best we've seen since BO3, and overall I had a great time playing it throughout the entire year. From a design perspective, I believe the atmosphere and easter egg quests really hit the right balance of fun and challenging in my opinion, and the boss fights always kept you guessing on the first attempt. Despite the great things BO6 Zombies did and it actually being pretty fun, I believe where it fell short was in its core mechanics. The biggest issue for me, and this is not just a BO6 problem but it was also a Cold War problem, has to be the loadout system. Being able to spawn in with the best gun completely kills any tension and makes the early rounds feel meaningless. I believe how it was in the older game, where you had to survive with a weak pistol, slowly build up your points, and actually fear going down in the first 10 rounds was a much better option than how it is currently. That pressure is what made zombies exciting, and without it, the mode feels far too forgiving in the earlier rounds. Another area where I believe zombies struggled in is the way the score streaks are handled. Right now, it feels like you can constantly call in things like mutant injections and chopper gunners with little effort. This makes the mode feel less about survival and more about farming streaks that don't even match the tone of zombies. And I doubt they would decide to remove them as a whole, so I think a simple fix could be simply scaling the cost based on the quantity purchased. So instead of spamming the same streaks every round, you'd actually have to think strategically about when to use them. Ammo is also part of the same problem as loadouts, as being able to just buy ammo for your best weapon every game whenever you want removes the need to hit the mystery box or buy any gun off the wall, and it also makes the max ammo drop pretty useless. Throughout all of BO6 zombies, I've personally never touched the box or bought any weapons on the wall because there's no point. By spawning in with the best gun in the game, it takes away the most iconic parts of zombies, and I think it really disrupts the atmosphere of what zombies is supposed to be. Overall though, despite these glaring issues, zombies in BO6 still deliver some of the most fun I've had with the mode in years. If they went back to a more classic feel where you start weak, your resources are actually scarce, and you actually have to fight your way up, I think it would have easily been an 8.5 or even 9 out of 10 mode for me, and I think the community sentiment would be much higher for the game mode as well. Moving on to multiplayer in BO6, I think it is a strong 8.5 out of 10 for me and the best multiplayer experience we have received since BO3. The new Omni movement system is easily one of the best innovations the franchise has had in years for movement, as it makes the game feel really smooth, responsive, and adds a whole new layer to the gameplay without feeling gimmicky like how jetpacks did for some people. On top of that, the gunplay is really well balanced in my opinion, and the TTK is in a great spot. Overall, the core mechanics of BO6 make the game really fun to play and can be coming back consistently throughout the year. Where I believe multiplayer fell short though was mainly in 3 categories. The first and probably the biggest is the maps. Shrek usually delivers some of the best designed maps in the series, but this time around, it really felt like they missed the mark. Maps like Rewind and Protocol, to name a few, stand out as some of the worst designed maps I've ever played in the whole franchise, and it made certain rotations and game modes feel way less enjoyable than they really should have been for such a great game. The second shortcoming is the same issue every modern COD struggles with, and that's skill-based matchmaking. Although I think it gets a little bit overblown by people who are simply just bad at the game, it does completely kill the casual experience that COD used to be known for. Recently I played some Battlefield 6, which doesn't use SBMM, and the difference was night and day, as the game just felt more relaxed and genuinely fun. While COD nowadays, every match feels like you're playing for your life, and over time, that feeling can just get exhausting. The third area I think multiplayer struggled with was the skins. Now personally, I don't really care too much about what operator I'm using or shooting at, but I can completely understand why players hate when the game gets flooded with goofy and out of place skins. It breaks the immersion and ruins the tone of the game, and I started to notice the sentiment for the game really go downhill when they added in the Squid Game event. And we know Activision is not going to stop selling skins, so I think the best solution for this would be to add a simple toggle that lets players turn off those type of skins if they want to. This way, the people who like them can keep them, and those who don't can have a cleaner, more grounded experience without those goofy skins. Overall, for the multiplayer, outside of these main issues, it was really good in my opinion, and when you combine the movement, the gunplay, and the feel of the game, it's one of the most enjoyable COD multiplayer experiences I've had in a long time, and it's definitely the best one in this modern era. And with such an enjoyable experience this year with the multiplayer, I think it really sets the bar high for what I want to see in BO7, as I believe if they just fix the maps, we could be in for a really good year of COD multiplayer. The last and final area of BO6, and the area I play the most, is ranked play, and for me, it is a solid 8 out of 10. The core gameplay which I mentioned before, combined with the rank system that carried over from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, makes for one of the best competitive COD experiences we've had in years. The progression feels rewarding, and when the matches are balanced, the mode is incredibly fun and really addictive. Where I believe the mode fell short though, is in 3 main areas. The first is the map pool. I already mentioned my issues with the maps in general, but in ranked they feel even more noticeable. And it's not just the maps themselves, as it's the general design of them, as in competitive play, it completely changes how a match feels, and unfortunately too many of the maps in the rotation this year just didn't hold up. And this was sad to see, as if the maps were great, this game would have been a whole lot better for competitive. The second issue I see in BO6 ranked is the matchmaking system. With the matchmaking system, I'll never understand why, as a diamond player, I'll be matched up against Crimson's one game, then Plats or even Golds the next. It makes no sense and often feels like the system is deciding when you're supposed to lose. In addition to this, if you start off in bronze and start to pop off, you have a chance to play against players in ranks far above. It's this inconsistency that takes away from the competitive integrity of the mode that it's really supposed to have, and it makes it feel less natural with the people you are facing. The third and biggest area with ranked is the cheater situation, which is just a classic COD problem at this point. No matter how good the gameplay is, without a strong anti-cheat, it's always going to drive players away. Running into obvious cheaters ruins the experience and makes you question why you're grinding in the first place. And if they don't take this seriously and address the problem, the general statement for the game is going to be the same as it was for BO6. One last thing I also think Ranked struggles with is how the restrictions are currently being handled. I understand the devs want to follow the gentleman agreements from the pros, but I'll never get why they ban guns that aren't even stronger than the current meta ones, or when DLC weapons are always left out. Whenever there's new DLC guns, it could easily shake things up mid-year for Ranked and keep the mode fresh, but instead, they risk it becoming stale by just copying the CDL. If they instead move to a more experimental mindset, where they aren't afraid to throw stuff in the mode, even if it is only for a limited time, the game wouldn't stay the same for a whole year, which is not good for the casual player, and it leads to a lot of players just becoming bored. Overall, despite these issues, I still had a great time with Ranked throughout BO6. The gameplay alone kept me coming back, and when everything clicked, it was honestly the most fun I had on COD in years. I think with a better approach to maps, matchmaking, and the restrictions, I think Ranked could easily go from an 8 to a true 9 or even 10 out of 10 in BO7 and even future versions of COD. To wrap up this video, I think BO6 was a really solid entry into the COD franchise. The gameplay and movement are some of the best we've ever seen, and honestly, if it wasn't for a few major issues that plagued the identity of the game, I think the community would look back on this game with a lot more positivity. Where BO6 shines is in its core mechanics. Omni movement is an incredible innovation, the campaign delivered a memorable story, zombies had some of the best maps and Easter eggs in years, and multiplayer/ranked play were some of the most enjoyable despite their flaws. Where it struggles though is in those glaring weak spots, such as the map design, the overpowered systems within zombies, SBMM within multiplayer, and the questionable restrictions within rank. None of these completely ruin the game, but together they hold it back from reaching its full potential. And with that being said, I still put BO6 near the top of my COD rankings. It might not quite reach BO3 levels for me, but it's far closer to the great CODs rather than being a forgettable one. And with BO7 now officially revealed, I'm really curious to see where Treyarch takes things. I think if they can fix the issues from BO6 while keeping everything that worked, I think we could be in for something truly special next year and see one of the greatest CODs of all time. So those are my full thoughts on Black Ops 6. If you've been playing it too, let me know what your experience has been like and where BO6 ranks for you among all the CODs. And yeah, feel free to leave a like, drop a comment, and I'll catch you in your next one. See ya.